Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we say, "En garde," and don't quite know why. 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummer.
I am Tom Taylor.
I'm Gerald Christopher, St. Nicholas of Myra. Kind of wanted to have a little fun. Patron saint of maidens and lovers, which sounds like a conflict of interest.
What?
Spice merchants, protects against storms at sea, thefts, and sterility. And patron saint of
German
Russia.
erotica. Sorry.
Yes, I chose patron saint of Russia. I thought it was just, wanted to have a good time. Porter.
Nice.
Porter.
Nice. Did he show up in Crystal Skull or in Last Crusade too?
I don't think so.
He sounds a little familiar. Oh, okay.
St. Nicholas of Myra?
Of Myra? Oh, okay.
I don't think so. It's possible. I had to run through a lot of them.
You did.
Well,
Like,
speaking of
about
saintly
90.
folks, I'm very happy we've got Christy Porter back
Oh,
with us
that's so
one more
nice.
time.
Hi, guys. Glad to be
Oh,
back.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks. Good to be here.
And today we're going to be talking about minute 6 of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And minute 6 begins with Colonel Dovchenko stepping elegantly out of a moving Jeep even before it stops. And it ends 1 minute later with him kicking an ancient Mayan artifact with disgust.
Not very nice.
No.
But
But Mac here, it's interesting because Mac starts off this minute feeling kind of like a non-entity to me as well, because Dovchenko gets out of the Jeep, he walks over and he just kind of stiff arms Mac and pushes him aside. And then
Yeah.
Mac says, "Oh, let's make it 100. Like let's make that $500 bet 100. I'm going to lose."
Well,
Yeah.
so, I wondered about that. So when Max says that, let's call it 100, is that because he recognizes the Colonel? Or is it because,
Yeah.
the Colonel is just a bruiser?
Well, I think it's both, but I don't think we're supposed to know it for yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
because there's actually it's really interesting. There's a cut in this scene, a shot where Indy gets walloped, and they very specifically shoot to Mac,
Yeah.
and he kind of goes,
Yeah,
I
they
guess.
do.
And it's
I
if
miss
you
that.
watch the movie, you're like, whoa, that's a pretty big cut, like a pretty telltale.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, how do you mean exactly? Because it could go different ways.
Well,
depending
it could
on how you're
go
looking at
different ways. No, it's true. It could go different ways, but I don't know. He looked like Mac. If you watch this, Mac looks very guilty here. Indy takes a punch, kind of a backhanded, Russian thwa, and
Yeah.
and they go directly to Mac, and he looks guilty, and he looks down, and he kind of like bites his lip
Yeah.
a little
You're
bit
right,
and
you're
goes.
right.
It's almost like a
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he
Yeah.
feels bad that Indy just got struck, and you're like, that's not a like, well, it's better him than me. It's kind of like, ooh, what kind of mess did I get us in here? This is
Yeah, but couldn't it also just be read like if you're not? Couldn't it just be read as geez, my buddy, that must have hurt.
Yeah. I think the first time you see it, that's definitely how
yeah,
you read it.
I guess so.
But
I see what you're saying.
I'm having trouble coming to terms with him as a character because he, like, let's call it 100. It seems like he could kind of be the sniveling coward that he kind of ends up being right here, because he's kind of like, let's call it 100, and then but at the same time he does kind of seem like kind of biting his lip when Indy's getting punched. And it's kind of like, is he conflicted here? Is this kind of like Darth Vader watching the Emperor shocking Luke, or is he not conflicted at all?
I mean, I thought it was an attempt at humor, and it was just kind of like a big bruiser comes out like, oh, we're gonna get out of this, and then that dude comes out and it's like,
Yeah. It could be.
wah,
Yeah.
wah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's. I'm surprised they didn't have like a boo, horn or something like that. Something.
Well,
The way these movies have gone ever since Raiders.
Yeah,
Somebody
It's
stepped
sort of
on a clown nose.
going in a direction.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Indy, like him asking Indy if he recognizes the building, and is that what makes Indy mad? Because he looks at the building and then he turns around and says "drop dead," and is he mad because he recognizes the building, or is he mad because he sees these dead American soldiers being dragged, or is he mad just because he's his usual surly mad self?
It's super weird. It's like that. It's like that American flag or something. It's like I don't quite know how to read that. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's more. It reads to me like he looks and he sees the guys getting dragged away, and he's like, "Why would I even answer anything
Yeah.
this guy asks
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
This guy just killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
The heck with this guy."
Yeah.
But there does seem to be a touch of like he's responding to that question or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then in a follow up to that, why does Dovchenko get so mad when Indy says, "I mean, drop dead comrade"?
Why you?
Yeah, is he like, I'm not comfortable with
Only
you
my
calling me a
mother
friend?
calls me comrade.
Yeah. Or is he mad that Indy knows they're Russians, or is he just like a scrap chat Pat Roach kind of guy and he just loves to fight?
Yeah. I think he's sort of Pat Roaching it here. He's just kind of like, all right, give me any reason reason to wallop you with a big.
It's just
Ben
funny. That's what
Burt
sets him off.
flabang.
Like, oh man, this guy called me comrade. This guy called me friend. That does it.
Give me an excuse.
And do you know what he says here?
Oh,
Via George the Russian, Jared?
Oh, why?
Oh.
Of course. Speaking of, give me an excuse. Give me an excuse to call upon George the Russian for a little help. And yes, I do. I paid a little visit today, asked him for a favor, and let me get my best Russian voice here. This is what he says.
Grab his hands behind the back. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Wait, excuse me?
It really
Excuse me is actually what Cate Blanchett
Yes,
says. in
exactly. That is. That's what. Yeah, that's that
Thank
little
you
whole
for
scene.
You did well saying it all together
It's
like that. though,
yes,
Jared,
it's
yeah.
kind of
That was good.
hard.
You
It's
sounded
kind of
like $1
hard on my
million.
vocal cords.
he had to get it all out at once.
Yeah, so it's
blank over
sort
here.
of like put his hands behind his back sort of thing. So
That's logical.
yeah.
That
no,
doesn't
it
seem like a
makes
scrap
sense.
chap though.
No.
Like that's kind of like I'm hold his hand so I can just punch him. The scrap chap would have wanted him to try to fight
It's
back.
true.
It's McCluskey from The Godfather. Stand him up.
Mm.
Stand him up straight.
Yeah,
He just clobbers him.
It kind of shows that this guy's not fighting fair, like
No.
at all. Like
And he
he's-
doesn't care.
Well, he
He
did.
doesn't
I
have
mean,
the,
he has those. He's got those Russian doll soldiers, like whatever, playing possum on his
You can
back.
deploy them at any point.
Yeah, I don't think this guy. I don't think this guy's a fair fighting scrap chap. No,
No.
No.
He's not in it for the
No.
love of the scrap the way Pat Roach was.
no,
Yeah.
no,
That's
no.
right.
He's
Yeah.
not.
That's right.
No,
Pat Roach didn't have
Yeah.
like a team of guys with him.
no.
That's
no,
true.
no.
I
Nobody
would
was
like
holding
to see
Indy's
Pat Roach
arms.
playing that character though. That would be
Oh,
fun.
I would too.
yeah.
That would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see Pat Roach play anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
England.
now, Tommy, you mentioned this. So, does Indy recognize that building?
I'm getting real uncomfortable.
I feel
wanna
it too.
say-
I feel it.
Okay, I'll say, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say it would make no sense to me that he would recognize this building. I don't know why he would. I'll
Right.
just put it that way.
Right.
Okay, Pete, you agree?
Yeah, I also say that there's no reason he would recognize this building.
Okay, and
Although,
yeah,
it's possible that since he is so good at locating artifacts, that he went and did some digging after some of his previous artifacts had disappeared from via the government to find out where they went.
that's a very long bridge you're erecting there, Peter.
I
mean, I like it. We're at the slumber party,
Yeah.
and so we're walking through
Yeah.
it, and it's we still got another
Yeah.
5 hours
And I'm
to
like,
kill.
oh, yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
That was, Pass me a Sprite.
So
That's right.
But that's the thing. Like, yeah, why would if Indiana Jones recognizes this building, or he recognizes that this is indeed like Area 51?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering if he was being strategic there. So if he was he being strategic, like yes, he does know exactly where he is, and he's just going to say drop dead to buy some time, or to not to get hit, obviously, but to demonstrate that he is not going to be pushed around, or he really doesn't recognize the building, but he suspects what the building is,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just not going to reveal whether or not he knows it. That actually suggests that he does know what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, if
But
you're...
I want to know why Tom was getting uncomfortable there. Why was Tom getting uncomfortable?
You haven't watched the movie, Krister.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie kind of hints that he does know what it is, but I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're supposed to think he knows what it is, but I don't. That doesn't make any sense that he would.
I'm going to need somebody to hold my hands in the next dozen minutes or so.
Well, so that's this kind of harkens back to our conversation yesterday, which is this guy's an archaeology. Is that the word? Can you stop this for me?
He's an archaeologist.
Yeah, he's an archaeologist.
He's an archaeologist.
I can't say that. You bastards! Now you're not going to stop it. You're gonna.
He's an archaeologist.
Drop dead. Okay. That word sounds so weird. An archaeologist. He's an archaeology professor. And you're like, yeah, that's what he is. Like, now I understand that he may have been, I guess, in the war or something, and he's made a name for himself here and there. But, like, if he knows about all this top secret, like super, super, super duper duper top secret stuff, that's different. I mean, he can.
It seems like though at some point.
I mean, what's great about Raiders is he's kept out of that. He's kicked out of that stuff.
Right.
He's not brought in. It's like fools, bureaucratic fools, and you're like, yeah, we're done with you. Done. Move along. Thanks. And you're like, yeah, he's
and there's
kind
no
of an
American
everyman.
military presence at all in the next two movies. Like, there's no American military observing what he's doing, so they wouldn't know that he did these things with the next two things.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless Marcus just came back and told everybody.
He might.
Well, and also just it's interesting. Like I would imagine that Indiana Jones, like he's pulled out of a trunk, right? And he just now realizes that it's Russians. Just now. And it's maybe 15, 20 seconds later, and they're like, you recognize that building? And he'd be like, why the hell would I recognize that building? I don't know. I'm assuming maybe we're in the desert somewhere. I mean, we're in the desert. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is like the Southwest or Nevada, I guess. Some military installation.
It actually reminds me of, being in the desert with the translator in Close Encounters. And you're just kind of dropped in the middle there, and you're like, why am I here? And like, there's some people around, and they're talking funny talk, as Jared would say. And
I want to see Bob Balaban as Indy's sidekick.
Oh God, see, that would have been great.
Oh wow,
that would have been great.
Yep.
Or Francois Truffaut as his adversary.
Oh,
also good.
Yeah,
be Belloc's brother.
Ron.
So the script says that Dovchenko curls his meaty fist to crack Indy across the face, but a voice stops him, and that's when Cate Blanchett says "Prostitia" and gets out of her car, which means "excuse me." And then her costume she's wearing this kind of army costume, but then she's got these black boots, these black gloves, like kind of pirate gloves, and a fencing sword.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like she's a Princess Bride cosplayer over her military uniform.
Yeah. It's actually
Pretty
true.
good description.
That's a weird get up.
Or she's just doing like the class
too.
play of Peter Pan, and she's Captain Hook or something. Because it does look, we were saying this the other day, Pete, that this movie looks weird sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut to I've been buying that they're outside this whole time. They pull up to the thing, they're beating up Indy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They cut to her, and all of a sudden it's like this beautiful painting of dusk behind her.
That's
right.
right.
And it looks like they're inside. And I believe that they're inside. And this is some weird like green stage or something.
Yeah.
And I don't get what's going on. I don't know why that switch happened.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you, because I'm really stupid at movies, and even I caught that. No, for real, because you're like, oh, when they pull up, it's still like, I don't know, 3, 4 in the afternoon, something to 3, 4. Now this is 1 or 2 minutes later, and it's dark.
Yeah.
Like this, like it looks like it's, I don't know, 7:30, 8:30.
It looks like it looks exactly like there was like a scheduling conflict.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett
Yeah.
on on
Yep.
location, and they had to do her inside later on or something.
Maybe Dovchenko just had his arm cocked for like an hour.
Oh, maybe, yeah. He was threatening him.
Yeah.
When is she gonna say "excuse me"? It is. No, I know.
It is interesting though,
Wish
because
somebody would excuse themselves.
It does. It looks so that I get it. That this whole thing, it looks really weird. It's like gray and tan, and it looks like they're indoors.
yeah, the lighting is weird.
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
And it's also interesting. The first time Harrison Ford and Cate Blanchett met was when they were both in makeup and costume on the set.
Oh, wow.
And so that's interesting. I don't know if this was the first scene they shot together, but it's interesting that's like he didn't know her before this.
Yeah.
And there was apparently one point when they were filming when he saw this blonde woman on set and he was like, "What are you doing here? Who are you?" And it was her without her black wig. He didn't recognize her.
That's funny.
She's kind of hard to miss.
I know. I was going to say,
Yeah.
like, hasn't
Yeah.
seen any other movies or anything?
Now, Pete, you said that's the Colonel who kicks away the Mayan artifact.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe, I was wondering that actually. Is it him or is
I
it-
think it's Cate Blanchett.
I think he
who
drops
does.
them.
Yeah, he drops them.
Yeah.
And she's,
No, it's
well, so
she doesn't kick him. That's a man's foot that kicks
I
him.
don't know. I'm looking at
No,
it.
I think it's her.
and
it was
if
one
you
of the
look at
henchmen.
where
No.
if you look at where they're all standing when he drops it and then the foot sweeps through from where Cate Blanchett would be, like because
Yeah.
it's dropped in front of her, and then
Mhm.
it kind of, the boot goes through the Mayan artifact debris.
Well, I suppose that's true.
Well,
Although given that
so
they weren't allowed to film with Cate Blanchett except for like 15-minute increments, apparently, maybe that is just some guy with boots pretending to be her.
well, so what's going on with Mac and Indy in Mexico, and what is that? How do we know that's a Mayan artifact?
Well, we know
Well,
that from the
before-
book.
Oh, okay.
Before we get there, why does she care where
Yeah.
they were picked up?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't know anything about her. In the script, we know her name is Dr. Irina Spalko. And we don't know what kind of doctor is, like if she's just an evil professor of psychology or if she's a medical doctor or what she
Or a
is.
professor of evil psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way. Same.
Yeah. But yeah, in the book, the novelization begins with Indy and Mac, for some reason, digging for Mayan artifacts in Mexico, and these Russian special service guys show up and capture them.
Stop them from killing everybody just to take the stuff.
Huh. Okay.
Which is weird that Mac was digging with Indy in Mexico in the first place. Like, is he another like special agent archaeologist? Like, is Mac? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm having a hard time buying Mac's character. I'm having a hard time buying Irina Spalko's character too.
Yeah.
Well,
Although
her
one thing I
costume
like,
doesn't help.
no, the costume's sort of weird, but I do like that. I think the biggest sin that the villains commit in any of these movies, in fact, in every one of these movies, is they disrespect the power of the artifacts that they're seeking.
Yeah.
And in this one, they disrespect it right here at the beginning, like when they're taking these artifacts, and breaking them right at the
Yeah.
beginning. So it seems
Yeah.
like it's kind of a foregone conclusion that these guys are going to get it at some point.
But what's interesting is she's kind of transcended this artifact stuff. I think that's why she kicks it away. Like what she's actually seeking is not, of this earth or is not.
But of
Uh-huh.
course, we don't know that yet.
I dig it. But I
I
mean,
like when Jerry's so way ahead of everybody. That's weird.
The Jerry Librium is off.
been sitting in the trunk too long together. That's why I think she kicks through it because she could care less about a Mayan artifact.
Yeah.
That's just not at
Yeah.
all what she's seeking. And I think we may see in the next minute or two that she's really out there. Like what she does to
Mhm.
Indy, she's really out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, well, we'll
but
get there.
We don't know that yet.
Is she? Is she? So Pete, what aren't you? Why are you guys dogging on her uniform? She's a special agent. She's like a Russian
It's-
Nazi.
When you're a special,
You look, you know she's a special agent
Yeah.
as soon as you see her very
Yeah.
special uniform.
Yeah.
that's right. I mean, special agents
She's a
don't
secret
actually
special
call
agent.
attention to themselves like that.
She looks like a
Turns out.
character in a movie. She looks like somebody designed an outfit for the
Yeah.
bad guy of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
very unnatural and very just.
I had the same problem with Elsa, though. I really did, because she's dressed in a perfectly tailored suit that really nobody could walk around in. Nobody could walk around in that. You just can't move your legs. She should have fallen over several times, but she didn't. And
Yeah.
I feel that it's just not natural, and that's not a natural. That under no circumstances is that a natural outfit that she's in.
Yeah.
So
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to compare this to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Belloc just wore clothes. Belloc he had like
Right.
a few different outfits. Sometimes he'd be very rakish. He had a hat. He had a suit.
He was dapper.
He was
for
duded
sure.
up.
Yeah,
He
But
always
other
wore
times he
white.
was just wearing a shirt with the sleeves rolled up, and he's just wearing what he needed to wear. He wasn't like
that
in
was
his
a
Belloc
good,
uniform.
That was a good outfit.
Right.
Yeah. And he looked like $1 million no matter what he was wearing.
Oh, absolutely.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah,
And
I think they only do it to the women, but Marion actually
Yeah.
looks good in Raiders too.
She
Except
does.
for that.
Yeah. She just
Yeah.
wears
Well,
stuff.
yeah.
Well, so do you like the
Yeah.
Colonel,
Looks
or
good.
is the Colonel's treatment over the top too? I mean, like, do you think he's bad guy coiffed?
Yeah, I think I think his look is all right, but he just seems too cartoony to me too.
Hmm. The move with it's a very Spielberg move, but it's a little too much. With like following his hand up and like with making
Yeah.
the fist, and then his head snaps
Yeah.
back to her saying "Excuse me."
And his
That's-
jowls like waggle as he moves his head
yeah.
back.
Yeah. I'm gonna rub him out. Yeah, it's a little much. It's a little too
Yeah.
much. But I mean, other than that, he's like a good presence. He's a good. I don't know. He looks like a bad guy. He looks like a
So
I
who
don't
does
know.
the best job in this minute?
in this minute.
Oh,
Yeah,
Indy.
just this minute.
wait a minute.
I don't think Mac does a bad job.
Okay.
Indy,
I
I
think
gotta
Mac's doing
say,
okay.
Indy's a little funky for me. It smells a little like it.
Yeah.
It smells a little rancid. I don't know. Like it's not spoiled yet, but
Yeah.
maybe throw that away because he's kind of. It's a little that to me seems a pinch
Maybe throw that away.
forced. Drop dead, comrade.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah, that's
decide what I
kinda-
think
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
I don't know. Comrade's a little too easy or something.
It's kind of a grandpa line though. It's kind of a like you can see your grandpa like
maybe
I mean,
these
drop
are
dead
this is
comrade, you commie.
this is the Kirk's glasses moment. This like he's making dad jokes. He's like comrade.
Yeah.
It's just too I don't know. Like zero thought went into that. I guess that's what bugs me. I guess
Okay, so that's
Just calls
not
him
who you
comrade.
think did the best job, but who
Yeah.
did do the best job?
I like Mac. I
Okay.
like Mac's lowering the bet when he sees the big guy coming at
Yeah.
him, and I however you want to read it, I like
Yeah.
the look that he gives when Indy gets beaten up. I think
yeah.
he's okay.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is Max minute.
Yeah, I like Mac
Maybe.
in this too.
Do you think people, because this came out after The Incredibles, do you think people
Oh, that it's amazing.
thought that Irina Spalko looked like, I don't remember her name.
Oh,
from The
Edna
Incredibles,
Mode.
but- Yeah, Edna Mode or Edith Head, who she was based on. Like she kind of has that same, like the glasses and
She
the
sure does.
black
Yeah,
bobbed
maybe.
haircut.
That's funny. I hadn't thought of that. I think I mentioned there's a character on the Star Wars show Rebels, the cartoon, who's just her. It's just like lifted directly from her. It's like exactly her look.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. From here or from
From
The Incredibles?
No, from this.
Oh,
What's
okay.
the name?
Wow.
Spalko, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think Cate Blanchett's character would say to her other character, Galadriel?
Oh, Galadriel.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
was going to say from Coffee and Cigarettes.
She'd tell her to diminish
Either
and
way.
go head to the west.
Yeah. She'd say, hey, look at this
Who's-
mirror.
Who's Galadriel, by the way?
Oh, Pete. Pretty
All
elf
right,
lady.
pick your.
Yeah.
She's the elf queen, and trust me, she does not look like that. She totally. does not.
Oh, she's a great elf queen.
She's serene.
Yeah.
All right, maybe our question is, what would the elf queen say to her? Say to Spelko.
Take those silly glasses off.
She would
You're
say,
indoors.
she would say, even when I considered taking the ring and I got all scary, I didn't have that goofball haircut.
Oh.
You Mo Howard looking son of a gun.
You know, one thing I'd be interested on the Crusade is we talked a lot about why is why was Elsa not remembered as much as Willie or Marion? And it seems like Irina Spalko is almost completely forgotten.
Who? Oh, the one we're talking about right now.
And I'm curious if there are people on the Crusade that love Irina Spalko and think she's a fantastic character, or if a lot of people have problems with her, or if she's just sort of forgettable. Like, I'm curious if we have out of the way opinions, or if a lot of people agree with this.
The whole movie sort of gets brushed aside, and she probably goes with it.
Yeah.
Well,
I find
don't
it
know.
hard to just plain old not like her because I like Cate Blanchett so much.
I do. I like Cate Blanchett a lot.
Yeah.
I thought that some of the folks in the listeners' minute ranked this as second.
Some of them did.
See?
Yeah. That's true.
Takes all kinds of critters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't make it.
I'm not ranking the movie yet. I've only seen 6 minutes so far.
No, but this
Right.
movie does have its not just defenders, but it's firm, staunch supporters. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And I will say, when I came out of the movie theater, I when I first saw it, I think I enjoyed it. And I think I wonder how much of my negative feeling towards this movie was built afterwards by all of the online negativity. Like, I wonder how much that affects us about something we've seen, or how much that is
blame
really
the
like I
interweb.
felt negatively about
it
this
does
movie.
feed its. I mean, I wanted to die when I first saw it. I wanted to just stop everything, just snuff it, like with no pain. But then, like, since then, and I hated it for years and years and years. And then I saw it, like, for this, I was like, oh, all right, this ain't bad. Yeah.
Poor Tom.
It's not always easy.
Well, speaking of not always easy, should we ask if anybody has any last thoughts on?
I have a question for Tom.
Oh,
you'd like to know it. So the question for Tom is, if you were given the opportunity to be one of those dead soldiers who is, just dragged off, is that the kind of extra you would be?
Oh, in any movie, or just like this movie, or
Well, this movie in particular, but because it's pretty brief, and you'd also be dead. So
yeah.
So your choices are, no, that's probably, widow's peak bad luck, or I don't want to that's not how I want to make my debut on the big screen, or sure, I'll be a dead guy.
If they just came up and said, "Hey, do you want to be a dead guy in an Indiana Jones movie?" I'd say, "Oh my God, yeah, totally, sure."
But what if they said,
But if they said, "Hey, who do you want to be in a?"
I was going to say, what if they said it, but it's in this one. It's in Crystal Skull.
Yeah. Well, better to be dead in Crystal Skull than to rule in heaven. How does that go? No.
That's not how that goes. Okay, just wondering.
Sure, I'll be dead in this movie. Thank you.
Well, speaking of moribund.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was my word of the day.
That's pretty good.
Yes, coming in over the wire, a big fat.
Hey.
Join us at home saying it. All right, this just in from the bear who made her bed just right. Yours is always too cold. Make your bed too cold, Chrisser.
I'm
Gross.
sorry.
How do you make a bed too cold?
I don't know. It's a Goldilocks thing.
Moving on.
Jerry's parents never read to him.
Never made the porridge just right. Let's see. Drop dead can be a rude slang expression of dismissal and contempt for someone, but it can also be an adjective meaning spectacularly or sensationally striking or impressive.
Oh.
Oh, do we have a beautiful eye alert here?
Well, yeah, maybe it's
Wow.
or maybe it was drop dead comrade.
Drop.
Just a
He didn't let me finish my sentence.
Yeah.
The press.
You're a drop dead comrade.
Hello, Federal.
Beautiful eye alert. Drop dead. Comrade.
Oh, well, yeah. Thank you,
Mimi Porter, Esquire,
and,
yes.
Esquire. And please join us back here Monday for minute 7 of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull here on the Drop Dead Indiana Jones Minute.
Comrade Jones. I don't know.
I'm a little offended by your courtesy laughs there.
Wait, who, me?
Both of you.
Aw.
Yeah, Peter, I'm just tying my shoe. I ain't gonna get close to this.
Pay no attention to the courtesy laugh standing behind me.